3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Hey, what's up? Ken from Palm Beach Dyno here. I've been waiting for this day for a really long time. Longtime PBD fans already know we are GT500 experts, but for those of you that are new around here, go back and check out probably nearly 100 videos on GT500s. Considering the Raptor R has the same engine and supercharger setup, this is gonna be epic. We're gonna walk you through all the steps to modify your Raptor R to perform exactly how I think it should. Now, it's an awesome truck as is, and of course, that's what you've been stuck with because no tuning. But now that we can custom tune it, we're gonna go through the entire process. So today we're gonna start with a baseline on 93 octane, then tune it. Then we're gonna install a 2.7 liter SPE pulley with a quick change hub and a thermostat. I'll tell you a little bit more why the thermostat is so important. That'll be it for this video, but we're also gonna do a billet supercharger lid and intercooler on this setup. Now, I've already looked over the truck very thoroughly, and I think there's a lot more we can do for you guys. One big thing is a heat exchanger. Now, we do offer one for the GT500. I don't believe that would work well on the truck, so I think we're gonna make one specifically for the Raptor R guys. If you're interested in one, please comment below so I know exactly how many people want one. Let's get to the horsepower. First up is the baseline. All right, everybody. We're all set up in the truck, doing all these pulls in 5th gear. All right, here's the baseline. So now, let's address the elephant in the room. Why does it only make 530 horsepower if it makes 700 plus at the engine? Well, every vehicle is different. We have extreme conditions here in South Florida, 90 plus degrees, high humidity, and it has aftermarket wheels on it that are probably much heavier. I know Kelly Aiken, which a lot of you guys know as Mr. Draggy or from Keltrack, he's put new wheels on his Raptor R and it slowed down significantly with the Draggy. So I think that's what's going on here. A little bit of the wheel tire combination and a little bit of weather, but we're gonna be doing everything today in the same exact weather conditions. If anything, it's gonna get worse through the day as we tune it. So that kind of counts against us, but we're gonna keep going. Anyway, we're gonna load up the tune and see how much power we can pick up on this beast. All right, we got our bass tune loaded up. Obviously, I'm using the GT500 as a good cheat sheet for this setup, and let's see what we get. We're up 60 horsepower already. With a lot more to go. So let's go over the numbers and then I'll tell you what I'm gonna do next. All right, not bad for the very first pull. Don't worry, we got a long way to go on this setup. So again, the big important thing here that you have to pay attention to are the gains, right? That's why we baseline it, because every dyno is a little different. Like I said, the tires or wheels and tires are different, but that's still a very significant gain already. And that's without pushing the RPM limit up. A lot of times on any of these applications, we can make more power with more RPM, and we are gonna do that. But for right now, that's what we wanted to do. So I'm gonna raise the limiter a little bit and make a couple changes based on the log, and I think it's gonna make a lot more. That was some serious gains, and that was with the same RPM limiter and everything. So obviously, as you raise the RPM limit, these vehicles will definitely keep pulling, so you get big gains above, but that's at the same RPM. I'm a little shocked. But anyway, let's keep going because I think there's a lot more to go. All right, I got that one to rev all the way out to 7,000 RPM. We're up a little bit more horsepower. Let's take a look. Well, We made it over 600, but I still think we have more to go. 605, 524. The curve looks good, but it's fallen over just a little bit more than I would like, but I can see why in the tune. So making more changes. Actually, it's flashing right now. And then we're going to do another pull. Don't forget, we're going to be doing a pulley upgrade to this and a thermostat. Everybody needs a thermostat. You can get that on our website. We're also doing, not in this video, but we're doing one of our billet supercharger lids and upgraded Whipple intercooler. There's all sorts of things you can do with this. E85, this customer didn't want to do E85, but E85 is pretty simple. In this particular application, you just need injectors. The fuel system is plenty good enough for the E85. Regardless, let's make some changes and see if we can hit a new high score. Super happy with the results, but I want to keep going. Let's see if we can get it up to, I don't know, 75 to 80 horsepower maybe. That would be nice. .622 and 525 torque. Don't forget, we're dynoing these in 5th gear, but that's pretty typical on any F-150 application. Of course, with a mega cool down, which wouldn't really be accurate because the other pulls were done hot, I can make more, but I'm trying to give you real world numbers. Go back and look at all my old GT500 stuff. We work through every modification bit by bit, and we're gonna do the same with this Raptor R. Anyway, I think that's about all we have on this particular setup. So the next thing we're going to do is change the pulley and see how much power that adds. And like I said, we're doing the thermostat. The thermostat is very important. I would do it to a bone stock vehicle. The high temperatures that they have the factory tries to run on any new vehicle, I think is just a little excessive. It leads to heat soaking under the hood. So the thermostat is a great thing to do, and you do it at the same time as the pulley, so it makes it pretty easy. All right, Jeremy's over here getting ready to pull everything apart. We're gonna be doing the SPE thermostat. Stainless steel hub, quick change pulley setup with a 2.7 pulley. All this stuff is available on our website. This is tried and true in the GT500 market. We've had great success with this. Obviously a little bit more work on a Raptor than a GT500. What Jeremy's gonna do is he's gotta take some of this stuff apart, and we'll show you, and pull the supercharger hub assembly completely out. I believe it's 4 bolts and it slides out, and then it's much, much easier to change the pulley on the bench. So let's get started. All right, so the game plan is we got to move the supercharger coolant reservoir, which is in a different position, of course, on this than the GT500. It's normally not in the way. And then, I think we got to take this off or not?
Let me see if I can get my catcher in here. Might be able to get away with it.
There's a couple ways to do this. Jeremy is just putting a cut open coolant container to grab all the coolant that's going to come out of here, because we've done this so much. This is a little bit easier. You can also obviously just drain it onto the ground, which is going to be messy, or you can also just, you know, suck all the fluid out of the system, but this is definitely the easiest and quickest way. And then once, you know, this is the thermostat assembly, and that has to come off either way to get the snout out, which is right there. So this is an absolute perfect time to do the thermostat, which everyone should do on one of these vehicles, in my opinion. Now, a quick note on thermostats and why we change them so often in high performance. The factory has so many things they're concerned about, especially things like fuel economy and emissions. So a lot of the times, the hotter the engine gets, it can be a little bit more efficient. Emissions, all those sorts of things factor in, but not for performance. Running the engine cooler, especially when you up the boost, is super important. Obviously, even the stock fan settings are really high. This thing gets over 210 degrees after a pull. That's normal. We don't want to see that where we're going, so this thermostat will keep it in the 180 to 190 degree range, or at least it does on a GT500. You're gonna find out real soon how this one does. All right, now you can see how the thermostat housing came apart, so we can not only change the thermostat, but we're gonna be able to get this whole assembly out with there's 2 of the bolts, and then there's 4, basically. We'll show you as soon as it comes out. All right, got all the bolts out. You got,
Bolts are all out.
the snout is sealed probably, and it's just a tight fit in general on the front of the blower, so sometimes you gotta use a small little pry bar to work it loose. It will just slide out. Besides the 4 bolts, there's nothing else to do. It's just a little hard to get out sometimes. Pull that unit out.
Just like a 500.
Yep, no different than a GT500. So we are already experts. Let's take it and change the pulley and show them how to do that real quick. All right, so there's this tool. We also sell a much simpler one that's much cheaper, but since we do so many, we've got this heavy duty one. And what's gonna happen is you remove the coupler that Jeremy just removed, and then you put that down in there, and that's gonna hold the snout still. If anybody needs a stock GT500 or Raptor intercooler, we have a few in stock and ready to ship. Anyway, so yeah, so you're gonna have this black piece that you have to remove.
The other day online, someone asked them if you can get these little caps off without destroying them. The answer is no. You cannot.
We don't care anyway. Who wants a stock pulley?
Where we're going, we don't need caps. Let's see if we get more leverage. Just like
There you
that.
go. For those of you wondering, this is normal thread. You don't have to do anything special. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. And that whole assembly will screw off, and then you can throw that in the garbage. We don't need that. Nobody runs a stock pulley.
Get some lock tight.
Now what's gonna happen is the SPE hub is gonna thread on there, and then from now on, whenever you wanna change the pulley, there's no longer needed. It has a quick change system. So we're gonna go ahead and put some Loctite on this just to be sure everything is happy. And now the pulley is gonna bolt right onto these bolts, and you never have to do all this extra work again. All right, so now it's always best to use a torque wrench whenever you can. 65 foot-pounds on this setup, but you can also do it without the torque wrench if you really want to, just really tight. 65 foot-pounds is very, very tight, and Loctite will help everything stay happy. So that is officially done. We're gonna take it back over to the truck and get it installed. One other thing to keep in mind before we put this in, sometimes we forget to tell you stuff because we do so much of this, but there's a gasket there. So obviously be careful not to mess it up and check it. Most of the time you don't need a new one, but you always wanna make sure it's good.
Don't forget to put your...
Yeah, that's another pitfall that some people forget. You have to take that piece off to change the pulley, and then it won't work too well if you don't put that back. And it would be pretty bad, I think. We've never done it. It would just be super loud, right?
Yeah.
Because there's nothing to really engage the teeth properly.
Correct.
Like they would just be banging against each other. All right, there you go. Got to make sure you get it in most of the way. Don't try to pull it in too much with the bolts. You can do it a little bit, but get it in as far as you can before you put the bolts back in. All right, I'm gonna let Jeremy finish this up. That's most of what you guys need to know. Don't forget, you can get all these parts on pbdyno.com. You can send the truck to us. We can do full builds. We're gonna have all the stuff we did for GT500 and maybe even more because we know a lot more since that came out. We'll be able to do Whipple, custom Whipple installs. You know, we have a 1300 package for GT500. We have an 1100 stock blower package. Twin turbos are coming for sure. You may have seen my post about that. Hellion is already working on it. So anyway, as soon as Jeremy's done, let's rip it. Pulley's installed. Everything looks good on startup. So we're gonna go ahead and do our first hit with the new boost and slightly cooler temperatures thanks to the thermostat. That's a real nice jump. Let's take a look at the graph. 648 8 and 547 on the torque. That's just the very first pull. Although the log looks really, really good. Of course, we have tons of experience on GT500 platform, which is pretty similar controls. So I'm hoping we can get over 650 pretty easily. So we're gonna make a couple more changes to get there. Now, don't forget, these are low compression engines from the factory. If you're comparing this to a normal F-150, these numbers kind of are, you know, easily attainable, I guess, on say a Whipple F-150. But then after this, you start really hitting a wall. With this truck, we can go 700 and beyond on pump gas, and that's what gives it the big advantage. We're not gonna do that on this particular truck, like I said, but we're gonna keep going and going and going and push the limits of pump gas, E85, and every single thing we can on these. So let's make some changes and hopefully we can crack that 650 mark. All right, I went over the log and made some changes. This may be the last pull, but I say that a lot and then I find more. So we'll see what happens. There it is. 653. I think we're gonna call it there. We have a lot more to do on this truck. I'm gonna show you the dyno graph in a second, but remember, we're gonna be doing an intercooler next with a billet lid. There's way more for the Raptor stuff, so if you're a Raptor R guy, make sure you subscribe to the channel. 653 and 551, so we broke the 550 torque number. Again, these numbers are not really 100% accurate because of gearing and tire and all that, but the gains are what's important. Now, a little detail about dyno graphs if you're not used to looking at them. If you look, the blue line went slightly higher RPM, and this time the computer stopped me just a little bit earlier. If that would have kept revving out, that's going to directly affect the peak number, although it may not really add that much more power in the real world because you're only talking about another 100 RPM or so. So when you're evaluating peak numbers, that's great, but you also have to look at the curve. And when you look at this curve, it's up everywhere, every single spot. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have a Raptor R, we can take care of you remotely or in person. We could do a Whipple, we can do ported superchargers, fuel systems. The sky is the limit. I keep mentioning GT500, but we are F-150 experts and we do a tremendous amount of F-150s. Regardless of what you have, we can take care of it. We can sell you the parts remotely or do the full install. We can even help you ship the truck here. Just give us a call, 561-571-1173, or better yet, hit us up on Instagram or Facebook. That is the best, quickest way to reach us. Our phones are just extremely busy. So if you're just looking for some quick answers, social media may be your best bet. Anyway, hope you guys like the video, like it, share it with your friends, and we'll see you on the next one.